coilover install. So if you watched my previous videos, you remember I bought these Feals. These are supposed to be a little nicer than the Maximum Motorsports stuff. They're double adjustable. Well, these are the singles. I'm sorry. I got a helper spring for spring preload. They are a true coilover, not just a sleeve that goes over a strut like the Maximum Motorsports stuff. And then these are custom valved. So hopefully they're not going to be too stiff. I bought them from a buddy who road raced his car. Shout out to Chris. He is actually the owner of my old V6, or he was. He just sold it to somebody else now. He pulled it out, pulled the suspension out and stuff, and I ended up with his coilovers now. So they are really heavy springs. I'm hoping they don't suck on the street. But here's the fronts. Ignore my mess of table. There's my rears. So basically, these, you're going to notice, are bottomed out down here. You just unlock this spring collar a little bit, and then you're going to spin this out to adjust your ride height. And then I'm going to kind of set it as a ballpark. He gave me a picture of a measurement of where he had his. I'm probably a little lower than him, but my car is heavier, so I'm going to start where he sent me as far as his adjustment was and kind of fine tune from there once I get the rest of the car back together to put the car down. Okay, so let me show you how these work. My buddy turned these the whole way max low, essentially, to just fit them in the shipping box. So what you're going to do, here's your ride height adjustment. I don't really need to mess with this helper spring right here. This just helps so that when the car is full droop or full bump, that the suspension doesn't completely unload, which is nice, because I know my Maximum Motorsports ones would do that, and then it would kind of clunk. So what you're going to do, you're going to unscrew your lock collar, and then this whole strut body is actually going to spin on the strut. Let me show you. This one's kind of tight. I need the other hand, but basically, unscrew this a little. You see, that is going to turn on the threads and help you adjust your ride height. I need my other hand to adjust this one, but you get the idea. Alright, so now I got them roughly the same height. I'm going to put them in the car, and like I said, you're going to have to adjust the ride height once you have the suspension loaded, so you're not really going to know how high the car is, but I'm going to set it there to start and see what happens. There's a nice spacer stack on the top here. You're going to have to play around with these a little bit, make sure nothing interferes with the underneath the fender, so you're not hitting anything. But I believe with what he sent me here, this bottom one, this silver one goes on the bottom, and this black one goes on, or the bronzest one goes on the bottom. That one goes on the top, and then there's that slight washer on the top. I might be wrong. I might need both of these on the bottom, but might need both of those on the bottom. We'll see. He sent me a picture of how he had his in there, but I'm not entirely sure yet. And then this little adjuster thing just like pops out, I believe. Alright, so for those curious, here's what I ended up as far as a spacer stack. These two, this thick one and this smaller one, are going to go bottom underneath the plates. And then the other two on the top side, you're going to have another one of these. It's the same size. Ta-da. Another one of those, a washer, and your nut. Maximum Motorsports kit comes with a bunch of different hardware spacers, so you're gonna have to play around and see what gives you clearance, but that seems to be what worked for me. Alright, so I lost mine, but I had to order one from Late Model Restoration. This is the pinch rail straightening tool, but also we're going to use it to bend this one lip. So there's a lip in the fender in here, and I probably can't show you. Oh, it's kind of back it's like over here, you can feel it. You're going to need to straighten that out so it doesn't interfere with the coilover. That's what this is. Basically, you put it on the lip and then bend it down so it kind of flattens it out, and you move that out of the way so it doesn't interfere with the driver's side coilover. You do not need to do this on the passenger side. All right, fronts are in. Front is reassembled. Sway bar, bump steer kit. There we are. Here's the top side. There's my little adjusters. Soft, hard. So I set them kind of in the middle for now. 10 clicks from full soft. We'll see how they feel. I'll put the rears in. Those should be way easier than the fronts. So one thing I don't like about these Feals is they run a 2.5-inch spring in the rear, and you gotta open up this sheet metal a little bit to get it to clear, otherwise the spring's gonna rub. I'm using this frame rail bending tool that I bought earlier for the front coilovers to bend it out a little bit. Not a big deal, but kind of annoying. Got them in. It's pretty tight in there, but a little bit of vice grip, a little bit of bending, clear the springs. And I don't think that should really matter because that's just a rubber. And when you compress it, put my jack back underneath. You know, everything. Alright, I'm lifting the car at that point. It still clears, so it's tight, but it should be fine. If I hear any rubbing, I guess I'll know why. Hopefully that doesn't really affect my tire clearance. I don't think it should. One thing I will say I don't like about these, other than that, I wish they would have put the adjusters on the bottom. Because if I put my trunk plastics back in, then I can't use the click knobs. I might see if I can maybe like cut a little hole or something in them. I don't know. I might just leave them out for a little bit for now, but I definitely want to put them back in. Race car. So for anyone curious in regards to the adjusters for my coilovers, I did end up drilling a hole that you can see there with a step bit into the trunk plastics. That way I can just kind of stick a finger in there and I can adjust my rear coilover adjustment knob, stiff or soft. I really didn't want to leave the plastics out because my fuel pump wiring is over there, the taillight wiring is over there. It just looks kind of messy without the trunk panels in, although this car doesn't have a spare tire and this thing just kind of falls into the hole. I need to make a piece of plywood or something, but that's a later on project that I don't feel like messing with currently.